So recently, Sneaky announced his departure from C9. He is going to be streaming still, but he's going to be streaming as an independent streamer, not someone under C9. And I realized it actually marks a very significant moment in League of Legends esport history, because all the original members from C9, the OG C9, are gone now. Sneaky's gone, High's gone, Lemon's gone, Meteos is gone, Balls is gone. I almost always forget about Balls, but they're all gone. The OG C9 is no more. And I kind of wanted to talk about why that's so important, why this original C9 was so meaningful and significant to the history and to the fans, and also kind of the outlook of C9 in the future, what they're going to change into as an org, and why Sneaky isn't streaming under C9 and why Sneaky isn't playing. So let's start with the original C9. The original C9 was Balls in the top lane, Meteos in jungle, High in mid lane, Sneaky as AD carry, and Lemonation as support. They were a very new group of players, and they were the first and only team to ever Royal Road LCS. For those of you guys not familiar with the term Royal Road, it means to win the league that you're playing in the first go. So it's a term that originated from StarCraft 1, and StarCraft 1 is a independent, like, one-on-one game, right? So it's a lot easier as a rookie. You just have to win your first split or win your first tournament. But in a team game, to have 5 rookies and to win the whole thing is extremely hard. I think C9 is the only team to do it in a major region in the modern LCS era. I think Griffin was really close. That's why there was so much hype around Griffin winning their first split. But other than that, I can't even think of any team that came close to have 5 completely new players and almost win the whole thing in one go. Yeah, it's really, really hard. To talk more about the C9 roster, that's actually very, very friendly with each other and get along great outside of the game and like spending time genuinely with each other. And this makes the team really strong because you can discuss problems that you might have. You're always talking and thinking about the game. You have really good synergy. You get through problems a lot easier. There's very clear leadership and everyone likes to work with each other. And there just isn't a lot of internal problems. And even when they rise up, it's a lot easier to fix in a brotherhood team setting. So other brotherhood teams in the past I would list is like that TSM roster with like Doublelift, Bjergsen, Haunter, Svenskeren, and Biofrost. They get along great, and you can really see it in their content. You can really see it how the players get along in social media, publicly, privately. Just brotherhood teams are different. And if I pick out one more team, I think G2 currently, the one with Perks, Caps, Yankos, all them, I think they are also a brotherhood team. Like the way they get along outside of the game and in the game is very clairvoyant in terms of, yeah, this is a team that is a brotherhood, not just 5 players forced to play under one org. But going back to C9, they were very unique because everyone really just played their own part and they made it work through synergy. Balls, he was like an independent, solid player, didn't need a lot of ganks, would always be relevant, very much like Impact nowadays. Meteos, carry jungle player, the superstar, I think 41 KDA jungler, very famous for his champions like Zac, Z4, High. He's a leader through and through, in the game, out of the game. He was also a very pronounced playmaker, famous on champions like Fizz, Zed, Syndra, and Sneaky, the AD carry we come to know and love. He wasn't cross-playing as much back then. He was just very quietly himself, and he didn't even stream that much back then. But yeah, he was a consistent AD carry, low resources, playstyle pretty much stayed the same. He's been taking up more carry roles time to time, but yeah, I think Sneaky's always been a consistent low resource type of AD carry, famous on champions like Ashe, Caitlyn, and Lemon. He was a brainy support player known for his notebook and helping a lot with the draft. He was famous for champions like Zyra. I remember Sneaky and Lemon just playing Ashe Zyra for so many times during 2013 and somewhat into 2014 also. Yeah, the C9 team was a fan favorite. Everyone loved them. They were all American, which didn't matter that much at the start in 2013, but it mattered a lot towards the end because that's when imports really started to come in right around 2014. And the players were very likable and they had big personalities and they put it out there. They streamed a lot. They did a lot of content. Back then, it was a lot of vlogs. There weren't very much team series like TSM Legends or the Liquid one, Squad, or the 100 Thieves like the Hype. People just vlogged and they just showed everything in a very raw way. And we can't do that as much anymore because of the sponsors and because of how big things have gotten. I would say they were definitely a top 2 team in terms of popularity along with TSM, even though their entrance into the scene came much later than teams like CLG or Curse, who eventually became TL. But all good things have to come to an end, and they eventually met their end in 2014 summer by yours truly and one of my best friends, Lesboy. So C9 had a really big lead on macro compared to any of the other teams in North America, and they had really good synergy and really good game plan. But me being able to come in and teach TSM how I want the team to do macro and really have that live in the game through Lesboy and him be a voice, and players like Bjergsen, players like Amazing be so willing to learn. Like, we caught up in macro so fast, and we were, in my opinion, ahead of them in macro in terms of end of 2014, and that never neutralized. Like C9, they would match up to us in macro now, but that was their big lead on C9 versus the TSM, where TSM had strong individual players like Bjergsen, and Hai was the worst individual player, but TSM just couldn't beat C9 due to the huge macro difference that came once it came to mid game, once it came to late game, and once that was caught up, this C9 roster became very mortal. And also there were a lot of internal problems too, even though it was masked very well. A big thing that was kind of external that also affected them a lot is Hai getting his lung collapsed.
I felt kind of something like bounce around in my chest or something. It was like something really weird. I'm like, huh, that didn't feel like it. I got home and then I'm like just walking around and it became really hard to breathe. At that point in time, I knew something was wrong, so I was like, hey, Lemon, let's go to the ER.
When he came back, he never was quite the same mid laner, but I also think even if he never had the lung collapse just due to being caught up in macro and the internal problems within C9, it might have elongated their reign, but it would have came to an eventual end like sooner or later. So the really big divide that we can see and we saw later on in the future was there was a click between Hai, Lemon, Balls. That was one click. And Meteos and Sneaky. You can actually see this play out in some of the roster decisions that were made. Later on, when FlyQuest was created, it was Hai, Lemon, Balls. Notice how Meteos and Sneaky weren't part of that. And then when Meteos joined 100 Thieves, everyone was talking about Meteos and Sneaky joining 100 Thieves together. And even in the later versions of C9, Meteos and Sneaky liked playing with each other and they kept trying to play with each other. This team, what happened was Hai was being compared a lot to Bjergsen after they lost in 2014 summer by members on his team, and they wanted a mid laner that was able to match up to Bjerg in terms of mechanics and had a wider pull. So they got Jensen. But what they found out was the team couldn't really function without Hai, and Hai came back as jungler and actually replaced Meteos, someone that was very vocal about getting rid of Hai. So yeah, so be careful who you kick out, and revenge is a dish served best cold. I mean, Meteos and Hai seem pretty chill about it nowadays, but back then, my god, it was a lot of drama. And eventually, Balls and Lemon both kind of fell off as players, and they weren't as quintessential to the team as the other members. Balls was just a good player. He didn't really contribute that much in shot calling, nor was he uniquely really good. And Lemon, while he did contribute a lot in pick and bans with the rise of coaches, his knowledge and the things he did as a player, the coaching aspects and the strategical aspect, just got replaced by a full-time coach. And once people started having full-time coach, Lemon just wasn't as useful as he used to be. So for Sneaky and Meteos, the two players that I think are still very much pro level, they were just incredibly dedicated players. They had nothing but the game and they just only love the game. And I think Meteos, to a certain regard, is still that player. He just loves the game so much. Whenever he is free, like, all he does is play video games and spend time with his friends. So yeah, this is a player that's going to be playing League for a very long time. Sneaky, on the other hand, developed other interests, notably streaming, and also he has a very serious girlfriend now. And he also got into cosplay. That was a random hobby that I never thought would be a huge part of Sneaky's life. But yeah, Sneaky, I'm sure he's still as dedicated, but when you get older and you have a significant other and you pick up other hobbies, it's very different from when you're a teen or you're in your younger 20 where all you do is play video games for 14 hours and that's your entire life. Now, this was a team that was built very much on a strong friendship in and outside of the game and that synergy. And this team fell the same way when their synergy became weaker, when there was internal drama within the team itself, and also instead of embracing the unique strengths and weakness of each player and how they came together as a team, they wanted to find more standardized pieces, most notably Jensen for Hai. And yeah, this team just is not there anymore. But still, C9, we should celebrate for being the true great American team. I mean, there was that CLG roster later, but if anyone makes like a top 5 list of the best all NA teams of all time, I definitely think the C9 roster is going to be up at the top. Now let's get into more specifics of an individual player here, Sneaky. Why is Sneaky an independent streamer and not a part of C9?
What's next? I'll be streaming as an independent. Pretty much not under the C9 flag, but you know, still love C9, my team.
Is it bad blood with C9? The exit was quite messy. Sneaky's girlfriend made comments on her Discord that got put on Reddit, on the C9 subreddit, and then Jack had to reply to it, and there was a lot of drama regarding it. And basically the drama was C9 isn't paying Sneaky enough, C9 is doing Sneaky dirty. And yeah, even though that wasn't the best thing to happen, I think the 7-year tenure with C9 isn't going to be erased because of some small drama. In my opinion, what it actually has to do with is money and sponsorship. I think C9 does an excellent job with sponsorships. They have HyperX, BMW, Omen, Puma, Microsoft, Red Bull, Secret Lab, Twitch. They just have so much big sponsors. And as a streamer, you have limited sponsor slots. So what sponsor slots are basically things that you can be sponsored for, and you can't have more than one sponsor for the same sponsor slot. So for example, you can't have McDonald's and Burger King sponsor you at the same time. You have to pick one or the other. I guess the more relevant example would be you can't have both Logitech and Razer as your gear sponsors. So for Sneaky to stream under C9, his sponsor slots would be very limited. And how teams make up for that for having streamers under their brand is just paying them salary per month. So there's big streamers like Dom, TF Play streaming under TL. They get paid a salary from TL to rep them and to rep the sponsors. Sneaky is a huge streamer. He's bigger than Dom and TF Blade. So the amount of salary that he's probably asking from C9 isn't worth it for either party, or they just don't see eye to eye on it. So in my opinion, that's why Sneaky isn't streaming for C9. Not that Sneaky hates C9 or something. The other big question that Sneaky fans have, and just a lot of fans have in general, is why isn't Sneaky playing for another team? I think it has to do with a lot of reasons. I don't think he's a very good long-term play. Sneaky's a huge piece. He has his own voice. He has his own needs. I'm sure he's going to want to live with his girlfriend. I'm sure he's going to continue wanting to cosplay. I'm sure he's going to want to stream at night. He makes so much money from that. And also the salary. The salary that Sneaky is going to ask for is going to be huge. And that's actually why he's not playing for Dignitas. Just the salary didn't match up in terms of what Sneaky wanted and in terms of what Dignitas could pay out. And I really, really want to get this one thing clear. Sneaky not playing doesn't have to do with his level of play. I know people are going to come at me and tell me Sneaky's bad in lane. Yes, Sneaky's bad in lane, but he's not terrible in lane. He's just bad. And also Sneaky's so good in other places. Like, he is a top 4 AD carry in North America, and he doesn't take up an import slot. So Sneaky not playing has to do with other reasons, not his level of play. Just let that be out there. So another big question is, will he ever play again? I think every split that goes by without him playing will make it harder for him to play. The streamer lifestyle versus player lifestyle is so different. Like, the player lifestyle is so limiting. And while it's fine if you're in that lifestyle and you're so used to it, once you get the freedom and once you develop other hobbies and you start spending the time you have differently, it's really hard to get back into that disciplined player lifestyle. And that's why I think players like Mo or TF Blade will never ever be pro, because they're just too used to the streamer lifestyle and they would have to sacrifice so much to be a player. And also, the game is changing every single day, and people are getting better at the game, and people are streaming and learning new things, and there's going to be other players that are going to be up and coming. So to keep it very simple, my guess is by the end of 2021, if he isn't starting, he will probably never play again. And lastly, let's talk about C9 as an org, what it means. Like, we finally got rid of Jack's last soft spot. I really do think Jack had a soft spot for Sneaky, and I think C9 overall as an org is going to be, it's actually not going to be that much different, but to the image outside, it is going to be different. Let me try to explain why. I think C9 stealthily, they operated as a family team, as a meme team for such a long time, but I think they've been one of the smartest and most cutthroat teams. They always move a player a year early and never a year late, and I think they'll continue operating that way. Develop rookies, don't overpay for any player, be willing to part if the money for that player, if the buyout for that player makes sense. And now it'll just be more apparent to the casual fans, especially the ones who are screaming, C9 is a family! Like, now that Sneaky's out, I just don't think they're going to have a leg to stand on, and people will see C9 for what they are, an extremely smart and a cutthroat team. So I hope you guys enjoyed this piece on Sneaky not being part of C9 anymore and what it means as C9 as an org and what it means to the team just going forward. And yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Oh my gosh, LCS is starting soon. Face Check is starting up soon. I think we're going to be starting on the 20th, the Monday. And yeah, come check it out on my channel. It's going to be 10 a.m. PST 20th. Oh, one last thing. I'm not crazy. I'm just Loco. Later, guys.